Okay.
So we're going to take this pole here and raise it up. I've already got my screw started. I'm going to screw it in on this end while you're holding that in.
Okay.
Then we're going to put the level on it, and then I'm going to come over there and screw that in.
Okay.
And then we'll put the post in the ground, tamp it in when we're done. So I'm going to raise it up. Okay, go ahead and straighten it up. Where it's going to be. There you go. Just worry about that in your hand for now. This way, son. Right there. Hold it. Level on this. And hold that. Huh?
I need to stop the video. We didn't get
Making sure it's level. Tell me where to go. I got level.
come down some. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming there. Oh, a little bit. Oh,
Right there?
no. Down. Down.
Right there?
No. Down a little bit more. Right there.
Huh?
Right there.
Right there.
Okay.
Looks awful low.
It does too. To me. And now you just went over the line again.
Huh?
Now it's perfect.
Perfect?
Uh-huh.
Alright, hold this end here. Got it? Got it? Yes?
Yes.
I can't, you gotta talk loud, man. I can't hear.
Now we're off.
Huh?
Now we're off again.
Alright, let me get this started here.
That seem low to you?
You sing low?
Yeah, does it?
No, I won't sing on damn come over there. I brought two different sticks. I'm gonna see which one you want to stick around. This is called.
That's perfect.
I guess because it's going uphill. Alright, now we need to level this pole and tamp it in.
The horses are going to get a new pasture today. Poles up, and now we're just working on the insulators and get them ready to go. They're going to be very happy about this. A lot more space for them to go. And Chris and Brady will be happy that there will be less mowing. Any more of these you gotta do?
One more after this one. Otherwise, I would have an auger.
For as much as it takes the energy to start the auger, this gets done a lot quicker when you're only doing 3 posts.
Up here on this top, it's softer soil too. It's down there in the bottom. That was the hardest clay I ever dug through. This ain't too bad here now. You can kind of see it's siltier. There's more silt in it.
Yeah.
In the clay. Still clay in there, but
One of the things we noticed out here where all of that brush was, there was trees growing, and I guess two or 3 years ago now we had gotten them chopped down, and then last year had it mulched up, but look what I found. Ugh. This is everywhere in here. A couple weeks ago, Chris was riding the horse and the stirrup came undone and the saddle turned on its barrel, and he landed, he was riding her over here, and he landed in this nastiness. So we know we are highly allergic to it, and it is everywhere. I'm gonna need to do some investigating of how we're gonna get rid of this, because I really don't want the horses rubbing all over it, and then us rubbing all over the horses, and boom, boom, boom. And it looks to be poison ivy and poison oak. I don't see any sumac up here, but I definitely see those types. So we're gonna have some work that we need to do. You can still see there are some places where there's pieces of the trees that were cut down. It's gonna take a little bit, but having the horses out here to eat some of this grass is gonna help. Chris mowed it last night to make it a little bit easier for us to come out here and do some work, but you can see all of these weeds growing up in here, and the goats do like it, but because this pasture is so close to the road and we're only putting the 3-strand poly string up here, we're not, I guess, unless I'm here with the goats, I'm not going to let them up on this side, so it is going to have to be us getting rid of it, unfortunately. I know the salt and vinegar base method. If anybody has any ideas of what we can do out here that's not going to be toxic to horses and goats, please, please, please give us some suggestions down in the comments to help get rid of this poison oak and poison ivy. But this is going to open up so much more space for these animals, and having the animals out here to work on this pasture is going to take a lot less diesel fuel and time to get it mowed up and taken care of. Yesterday, the kids and I were over at our summer camp at church, and I talked to our neighbor, and she said that a gentleman had stopped by and was commenting that he liked the fence and was wondering how or who we used to get the poles driven in and things. He actually came back over and talked to Chris last night, and they talked about it, and he came over this morning and has been helping us some today. And we said when he's doing his fence that we'll go over there and help him. It's just a reminder that there are good people in the world that still have similar interests to us and want to help out. So that's pretty cool. We met a new neighbor. Get you some water. Right now it's 89 degrees out here, in case anybody's wondering. It's very hot. Why are we doing it in the middle of the day? Well, we have had a really busy last 3 weeks. I mentioned that Chris had fallen and gotten hurt, and so he was trying to recover from that. And then after that, he ended up having an infection from the poison oak. I mean, we're just so terribly allergic to it. After that, our family caught the COVID, unfortunately, so we're just now bouncing back from all of that fun late June, early July mess. And then all week this week, we have been at camp until later in the day with the kids from church. So it's been a lot going on, but the animals animals need this side of the pasture to be grazing on, and the poles have been sitting here for a couple weeks now just waiting for us to finish this job up. It's just coming up with the energy to get it all done. Sometimes that's the difficult part, but we're working on it. Feels like we never have what we need. We just ran out of those timber lock nails that are really long, screws, whatever they are. And without them, it's going to make this job a lot harder, so I'm going to have to make a Lowe's run real quick here. Chris is going to go dig that other pole while I'm out here. Getting that. Now it's going to be so much nicer for these animals. We'll see how high the grass gets. It's just so much to maintain if you don't got somebody on it eating it. Wow, look at all that. There's another big poison oaks growing right up that tree. Goodness. The good thing too is the horses are going to gain a little bit more shade on the other side, because later in the day, which is the most hot part of the day, they have their barn to go into, but it's still really hot in there because the air just gets trapped. Even though there's this back window, it doesn't really do much when it's just hot, humid, sitting heat. Everybody just needs to get cool. Hey, Stuart. You getting excited? Hey, Katie. Gonna need some new water too. When it's this hot out, I like to fill up the water twice in the week and then take 1 minute on the weekend to clean it out, bleach it out, make sure there's no green mold or mildew or algae junk grown in it. Just makes more sense. Alright, we gotta get us to Lowe's now. So this is what we're on the hunt for. We're gonna go to Lowe's and pick this up and try to get that so we can be going. Get this finished. He's still going. Alright, let's get the show on the road here. It takes so much longer when we have to go and get things, but without the right tools, you'll be wasting all your time. So here we go. Well, we just managed to get all these little insulators installed all the way down this line and the front line. So we are on the back end of it. We've got one more side to do, and then I'll be finished with this. Let's go and get going. I am reminded this morning that there is still goodness in this world. If you choose to focus on everything that is being shown on the television or on the news or the radio, you're going to find yourself depressed. But in the real world, the world that isn't always posted online, there are people that are still good neighbors. We were able to finish the other side of the pasture because we have neighbors that are amazing. A kind neighbor we had never met came over to the property and talked with our neighbor because we weren't home that day. He was coming to inquire about the fencing because he himself needs to put some fences up for his horse. In the meantime, he came back when my husband was home and got to meet with Chris. We offered to show him how we've put the fences up. In return, he would help us get it completed, and then when it is his turn to do his fencing, we will go over there and help him. Chris was able to take this long gate from right there where it was and just switched it. So now the horses have the ability to go in this pasture where the little barn is, in their water trough, and when they're ready to graze, they can come on over here. There isn't a whole lot of shade at this time of the morning, so they're still wanting to stay on the other side of the pasture. But towards 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when it is the hottest, there is some shade trees over on the other side of this property, so it gives them a little bit more shade. And at that time of the day, there's very minimal, if any, shade over here, which means the horses stay in the barn and it gets very hot in there. This week we are looking at close to 100 degrees with the heat index again, and it's exhausting for these animals. We're very appreciative that we've gotten rain the last couple days, enough to make the grass stay green, and it is growing. So I just want to encourage you, if you're feeling just down in the dumps of all the stuff going on in the government and all of the choices that the people in leadership are making that may not be what we feel is in our best interest, look local. You've got neighbors out there who are not used to stopping by and introducing themselves. I was telling Chris that we need to be having a little bit more courage to get to know the people around us. We have a great community, but there are still many, many neighbors that live up and down our road that I don't know. And I'm not a shy person by any means, but I have never, I guess, thought about just stopping at someone's house to introduce myself. I don't find it intrusive when someone does that to us. Our neighbor gave this really kind comment saying that his aunt had driven past our pasture and saw our horse and donkey multiple times and just commented on how pretty it was. That made us feel good. We were also laughing that at 40 years old, I go past anyone that has fencing and I have the greatest appreciation for it, because I know how hard of work it is to put one of these in, and also how much money it costs now. Our neighbor has a really good idea for saving himself some money to purchase poles. He found some on Marketplace, and it's just cedar poles. And he was, reminding us that back in the olden days, that's what they used for fence posting. They didn't go to southern states or Tractor Supply and buy these posts that are now between $12 and $15 a piece. So if you've got to get some fencing done, that might be something to look into. There may be someone that has a sawmill that can cut posts for you. And if they're cedar, they're nice and strong and would last a long time. If we would have thought about something like that, we probably would have considered it. But just want to remind you, there's still goodness in this world. And someone probably has a better idea than you do, so it's always good to check in with your neighbors. I hope everybody has a blessed week. Stay hydrated. Make sure animals have shade and water. And take some time to find the peaceful side of life.